Hi, everyone. Joseph Labois here. Welcome to Business is Politics. I have a very quick one for you today, and it's the importance of making sure that you don't bark unless you've got bite. And by that, I mean that you don't get bogged down by the tactical components of a good campaign without making sure that you got the strategic elements and the influence-based elements thought through. And this is a problem that a lot of campaigns fall into, right? You start developing your campaign plan, you start thinking about all the different tactical things you could do to be effective at reaching your ultimate aims and objectives. And that often means you get distracted by the tactical bits of the campaign. So, for example, you may think a petition or a form letter writing campaign is the thing that's going to ultimately put the thumb on the scale in your favor. But if all you're doing is making noise for the sake of making noise and drawing attention to yourself with that as a goal, you're going to discover that you actually have far less influence than you like. And so you have to think about what you need to do to drive real change. That means you need to take a step back and focus on actions that have political sway. Every elected official has a different definition, different exposure, and different expectations around how they want stakeholders or even their own constituents to engage with them on important key issues. You have to understand how they think about these things well before you resort to a tactical implementation of your plan. You also want to engage in meaningful advocacy with decision makers. Taking on an antagonistic approach from the get-go is going to set you back weeks, if not months, if not even years. And so, be prepared to actually start the campaign with an approach that looks at lawmakers as being willing and determined to work with you on a solution. Now, of course, not every single one of them will, but if you give them the benefit of the doubt early on, you may not have to resort to the types of tactics that could ultimately piss them off in the long run. And then you have to evaluate the success of your campaigns based on their impact. This is the other thing, and I'm guilty of this as well. I get very distracted by how many actions have we produced, and because it's a great and easy KPI to assess, and it makes us feel good that we are doing a lot of work. We're working really hard, but often actions for the sake of actions, much like tactics for the sake of tactics, often doesn't quite work. So you need to find a way to measure the impact, not the activity of your campaign. Easier said than done. Every campaign is going to have its own definition of what is impactful, but you're going to want to spend some time thinking about what you're ultimately working towards and how you measure it. This is all about ensuring that your voice is not like just simply heard, but that it leads to action and that the people you engage and mobilize for your campaign have their voices heard and action is taken. There we are. That's a quick one for you today. Don't bark unless you've got bite.